could I lose him? What did I try? Bit by bit, I realized that he was in me. I looked into my father's eyes, my father's eyes. I looked into my father's eyes, 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 my father's eyes. I looked into my father's eyes, my father's eyes, my father's eyes. Thank you, guys. Now, normally on a weekend, we keep the kids in with us for worship during the sermon time, and we give them some things to do so they can interact with the sermon. But today, we're going to invite the kids, if they want, to head on out with Mr. Tony, and they're going to learn a song to sing for the dads just a little bit later. So for the kids who'd like to go on out, you're going to head over to that door on that side. I think it's Melissa back. Is that Melissa waving her hands? All right, and she's waving her hands. So kids, you can head on out. If you don't want to, that's okay. You can stay for the sermon. Glad to have you do that. But kids, head on out that way. They're going to learn a song, and they'll be back in a little bit. So while they're doing that, let's see if we got some advice here from dads that we can reference. All right. Never say I can't. To always remain true to yourself, you have to love yourself first before you can love others. Never give up. Your ex-wife will always be your son's mother. Learn to get along with her. That's very good. Take one shot at a time. Golf. That's good, yes. When the rear end breaks loose, steer into the turn. When I was first learning to drive. Cubs. Oh, okay. Cubs. Mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them. The journey is long, and the learning from mistakes shall make you a better person, and always root for the Cubs. All right. Yeah. Talk about a long journey. Rooting for the Cubs is save your money. Suck it up and don't let people walk all over you. That sounds like a good man thing there. Don't let anyone take away your power. Happy wife equals happy life. Yeah. Be a good example to your children by honoring their mother. I love that one. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I mean, just think about that for a moment. How would you know that? Follow Jesus and God. Always respect people no matter what their background is or where they came from. Raising family in the church is important. Do what mom says. Did I just hear amen? Yeah, that's just great advice, period. Always be kind. Show up for work. Never eat yellow snow. Now, for those of you who've never seen snow, it's usually white. Yellow means an animal's been around. You may be able to fool others around you, but never try to fool the person looking back at you in the mirror. Always pay your tithes. Yeah, I text that in every one of them. Invest in guns and property. All right, it goes along with skinning cats, I guess. All right, and we got the don't eat yellow snow. All right, good. All right, very, very good. So here's what we're going to do today. I have asked 3 real dads, not a fake pastor dad, but 3 real dads, to come up, and they're just going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a dad. And these guys are exceptional. They've done a great job the last 2 services, last night and this morning. And you guys who are dads, even you men who maybe aren't dads, you're going to hear some things expressed today that is right in your heart. So these guys are great. I'm going to ask them to come on up if they would, and they're going to grab a chair, and we're going to just listen in for a little bit. I'll play kind of Phil Donahue and ask some questions of these guys, and we'll have a little chat about fatherhood here. We're good? All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to have them introduce themselves and tell you how many kids they have so we get a little bit of perspective. We've got a wide variety of years of experience here. So, Ryan, why don't you start?
I have been a dad for 5 years, and I have 2 sons. They are 5 and 2.
Okay.
Just about 2.
Hi, I'm George. I have 2 daughters. I've been a dad for 15 years.
I'm the other George. I've been a dad for 41 years. I have a daughter and a son.
All right. And I keep forgetting to say this, but George in the middle is your church board president. So you want to know who he is. Anything that's not going the way you want it, he's the guy to see. And which normally we don't have that here. So here's what I want you to do. First question, and George, for you, this is a long way back, all right? What was going through your mind? What were you thinking? What were you feeling the moment you heard for the first time that you were going to be a dad?
You want me to start?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, mine was, we were trying to get pregnant, and we didn't. It was about 5 years. We started adoption proceedings, and when the lady in charge of that said, the majority of you will be pregnant within 3 months. And I said, my wife and I both said, no way. And we were. And as you asked me before, I don't remember exactly what she told me and how she told me we were pregnant. I was just so, awestruck by the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
We had been planning, and I was driving to work, and Erica called me on the phone. And I almost had to pull over because she told me. And it was just that feeling of joy, excitement, and being terrified and absolutely just scared for what's to come. It's a combination of all that, and it's the weirdest response. You don't know how to act at that moment, but and as time goes on, you just kind of go with the flow, and you get more scared when it's about to come.
That's right.
So
yeah.
I was reminded by my wife last service that I was...
Of how you felt?
I was reading the paper when I was... it was really exciting, and I was really apprehensive about, the future, but it was a real blessing.
Did you say you were reading the paper?
Yeah, when my wife told me.
Yeah.
That printed media that used to get delivered to your
I love
house.
reading the paper. So just set up the moment a minute for us. Ryan's in the car, driving, and probably almost drives off the road. So was she very nonchalant about it? Just kind of, honey, I love just a little something to tell you, or?
Yeah, I can't really remember what I was doing, but she just told me that, hey, I'm pregnant.
And there it is.
There was my reaction. I was probably a deer in the headlights for a minute.
So, men hear parenting different than women, because women, when you get pregnant, this is obvious. You know something's happened in your body. So we hear it sort of from the outside. You've already intuited. You've dealt with the emotions that are coming. And for us, it's just a major shock. And we come at it really from the outside, where you come at it from the inside. So it's a little different experience for us. So let's then talk about that moment you held your child for the first time, the birthing moment, the experience. We know it's different for women than it is for men, and we're kind of on the sidelines, but we have our own emotional experience. Ryan, what was that like?
I was terrified beyond belief because she had to go in for an emergency C-section. So you can imagine it's like the scariest thing to go through that. And then when Noah was taken out of her, I just had the most joyous feeling come over.
Every time we got you, didn't we? Every time.
Yeah, my experience was similar to Ryan's. My wife had an emergency C-section for our firstborn, and I just remember being just in awe, seeing this little child and being able to hold her for the first time, something I'll never forget. Incredible.
I was in the birthing room with her even way back then.
Yeah, wow. They had birthing rooms even back
they
then.
did.
Yeah,
I think we were one of the first
Didn't happen
ones.
in the home of the midwife. It was,
No,
okay.
not quite. But
Yeah.
anyway, in that room, and just holding each other together so much, and just like a cloud around us, And after she was born, the doctor looked at us and said, "Would you like to know what sex your baby
Yeah,
is?"
that's funny. When I didn't tell this at the other services, so this is free, but when we had our first child, we were in the room, and the nurse had come in, and she said, "It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long night for you." And she said, "You might want to go get something to eat." She said, "But whatever you don't eat tuna fish." I don't know why, but you women would know why. Apparently the smell would not be great in the delivery room, apparently. So I went out, I got something to eat, came back, and she checked Jan again. She said, "Yeah, it's going to be hours and hours." And the nurse walks out the room, and immediately Jan starts saying, "This baby's coming." I said, "The baby can't be coming. It's hours away." And she said, "Well, this baby's coming." And just like that, Jan had dilated, was ready to go. And as that's happening, I hear a voice out in the hallway. It's my brother, Jeff. "Yeah, I'm looking for my brother, Tim, and his wife, Jan. They're having a baby." And Jan, "Don't let him in here." So those things you see on the TV where the wife is screaming, that was the only time Jan screamed the whole time. But so I sent Jeff away, and then the baby was born, so he didn't even get to stick around to see the delivery room stuff. But anyway, so with fatherhood, there comes a lot of stuff. And what has been for you the joy of being a dad? Might be in a moment. It might just be a sense of the gravity of the experience. What is it that is a joy for you as a dad?
For being the senior dad on the dais here, is to see our children have self-confidence, self-esteem, and a sense of respect. And the self-esteem and confidence I never had as a child. Yeah. So that's been my greatest joy.
Yeah.
I think it's the unconditional love they show you. And it's just that love that you don't get unless you're a parent. And it's unlike anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 2 teenage daughters, and one of the things that I've enjoyed,
And they're a delight. Yeah.
Hey, so far, it's
Just starting.
but just seeing them work to set a goal and then achieve it, and just seeing them work hard and persevere, and then through their own hard work achieve it. Has been really exciting, not having to prod them to, do something. They just take it on their own and work it. So.
Yeah. How about challenges? What challenges you as a dad?
Challenges for me is making sure that I spend enough time with my kids. There's just so many outside just distractions, I guess, that it's really, I think, important to just spend any type of time with them. And that time, any time, is quality time.
Yeah, and to expand on what he's saying, it's easy enough to be overworked and busy this day and age, but then on top of everything, you have your cell phone going off every 2 seconds, and Facebook notifications and email. So when I'm trying to spend time with my boys, I turn my phone off, close the computer, try to really focus on them, because it's easy to be like, "Oh, someone text me. I got to check it. Someone's on Facebook. What are they doing?" But, for me, that's not important. It's getting that time with your boys, because you can't get that back. So
That's right.
Yeah.
My challenge was when we learned that we're going to have a son, I was terrified. I had no athletic background or anything to work with to be able to help him, I thought. So the only thing I could think of doing is just participating and going to every game and everything he did. And later on in life, he said, "That's all you needed to do, Dad."
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the common theme, of course, is time. And one of the things that you won't hear dads or men talk a lot about, but it's the pressure that particularly young dads feel because they're trying to get their career going. They feel this immense pressure to provide for their families, and that's not to take away from incomes that wives make, but we're wired to work, and we see work differently generally than women do. And then on top of that, to have time for the kids. And a lot of guys are just overwhelmed by that kind of pressure. Women today feel pressure like that as well, wearing all these different hats and expectations, but you internalize that differently than guys do. And that's one of the interesting things about parenting for all of us, is we're young, we have no idea what we're doing. We're trying to establish our lives, and these little kids are there as well. And guys really internalize that kind of pressure. And time is one of those really important things that we wrestle with. And, we've all heard those stories of guys on their deathbed and saying, well, my regret was not that I, wished I could have spent more time on Facebook or on the phone. I want to spend all the time I can with my kids. So it's trying to learn that balance, which doesn't come easily when we're in the midst of all of that young stuff that we're doing. I want you to imagine that there's a dad here today. He's been a dad for a day, a week, a month. What advice would you give him from your perspective now?
Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. And you will never sleep again.
You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a professional athlete or the most successful businessman in the world. Just be there for them.
Yeah.
To expand on this, just that you don't have to do it all yourself, that you can rely on others, rely on your church. There's some really fantastic programs. The Rite of Passage that my two daughters have gone through has been just tremendous.
Yeah, and again, this is another one of those things where grandfathering gives you a whole different perspective, and grandmothering does too. And the second time around, even though I don't have full responsibility for my grandkids, obviously, you have learned now at a point in life that, all those things that I worried about as a dad, it wasn't that big a deal. But everything, the stakes seem so high, and you're so caught up in the moment. You want everything to be perfect. And sometimes it's just good to take a breath and say, it's okay. It's just a part of life. And we'll get through it. But again, when you're new and no one trains us to be dads, we're kind of making it up as we go. So let's end with this question. Faith, how has faith helped you as being a dad?
I think it helps to look at faith as God is your father. And how would God want you to parent your child? He would want you to be there like he's always there, and to be a mentor and a role model. And really, get your children connected with faith and bring them to church a lot, and make it a positive experience for them. That's key.
For me, it's been just kind of as a guide. I grew up in the Catholic faith and went to church every Sunday, but it's just been giving them a good foundation and a lot of prayer.
For me, it's going back to my father, who never really did mentor me, but he prayed without ceasing. And the more I think of that throughout my life, probably saved me from a lot.
Yeah. That's a great one, that Dad just prayed. And Dad, there's nothing more profound than a father who prays for his kids, a grandpa who prays for his grandkids, his family. And you guys were outstanding all weekend. I'm so proud of you guys. And can you give them a round of applause? They did a great job. Thank you.